Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wealth Pathways, the Affluence Science Insights Podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I'm your host, MrBeast, coming to your ears from Nam, Melbourne, Australia. Let's learn together.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Wealth isn't just inherited, it's created through innovation. Whether it's rethinking industries or tapping into underutilized resources, creative entrepreneurs are building affluence by aligning visions with actions. But how does innovation empower this kind of growth? And what can we learn in shaping the future as creative entrepreneurs? Joining us is Dr. Asmiati Malik, an international political economist with deep expertise in marine policy, the blue economy, and public sector innovation. From broadcasting and research to advising Indonesia's top government bodies and authoring books on political economy, ASMI brings powerful insights on how policy, entrepreneurship, and strategy intersect for our topic, Affluence Through Innovation, how creative entrepreneurs build wealth. Welcome to the show, ASMI. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's very nice to be here. Thank you very much for very amazing introduction about me.
Yeah, and you have a very extensive background. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what sparked your interest in the economy?
So I did my undergraduate basically in engineering, computer engineering. So I wasn't really interested in the economics, but all my siblings study economics. I think that it's influenced my unconsciously my decision in the future. And then I decided to get a master's degree in economics management and I did a PhD in international political economy. So yeah.
Yeah, your background is rather unique from your experience. What types of situations require entrepreneurs to be creative?
I think there are several things that it needs to be for entrepreneurs to be creative. Like for instance, they need to understand the four factors of productions. They need to understand the capitals. So when this limited capital, limited resources, they need to find innovative solutions. Of course, to facing constraints, particularly right now. Usually, like if I give you example during the COVID, right, it's very hard to do production because accessing into capital is also hard. Accessing to production sources also hard, and also to find a proper target market is also hard. So what we can learn from the COVID is actually technically seen that during the hardest time, the entrepreneurs find like you can no longer do traditional marketing. We have to do innovative marketing and using technology and e-commerce, etc., etc.
I see. So under pressure, human actually tends to become more creative, especially in terms of entrepreneurship and creating business opportunities. And before we dive further into our topic for the day, let's get to know you better with our segment that we call Have You Met Asmi? Okay. So, Asmi, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book, I think most of people already read it. It calls The Psychology of Money. So, yeah, it's by Morgan Housel. The book is really good because it's not very like it's not right. The book is not dedicated like for high. What is it? With the person that basically very high education on finance, but for public, like anybody has very basic knowledge about finance. The book is give you basic understanding about yourself. So your behavior, basically spending money, spending habits, your it attention in saving, etc., compounding, and then it also teach you to understand your emotion and behavior. It basically influence your financial decision. So I think the book is very good. It gives you also a kind of highlight about financial success. It's not solely about things what I said before about knowledge, but also understanding your behavior, why you have like uh, buying other stuff that basically you don't need it, and
Yeah.
also give you the patience. Like when you're saving money, you can use the money, but by the time you know the target, your future target, so it teach you about faith, patience, and also understanding your own bias. So I think the book is really good.
Yeah, I've actually read the book, and it's a really great fundamental, especially for people who's just starting out on learning the ropes of being financially more literate. And what movie have you enjoyed recently?
So I watched Castaway by starring by Tom Hanks. Is
Okay.
a movie that's a show about profound story about survival and resilience, and also the human spirit. So it's very brief about the movie. It's basically Tom Hanks deliver a package. He works in FedEx,
Interesting.
and
Hmm.
he tried to deliver all the package during Christmas time, so all the kids and family got the gifts before in Christmas time. But unfortunately, during the flight, it was turbulence, and then there's incidents, and the flight, what is it? The airplane is collapsed and
Hmm.
then landed into the water, and at the end, Tom Hanks was stranded in the very small islands, and he needs to survive during that time.
Ah,
Yeah, and then
interesting.
like during to be there like 4 years, he needs to survive in the island for 4 years. So I think it shows your spirits, yeah, your resiliency, survival. Therefore, at the end of the movie is very nice because he goes back to the island and continue. He goes back to the main island in America, I mean, and
Hmm.
continues
Hmm.
his life. So that's for me. It's
Uh,
really interesting and challenging at the same time.
I think that really sums up with the title, right? Castaway. And especially it's Tom Hanks. So I feel like
Yeah.
people who enjoys the action would enjoy that movie as well. And are you listening to any podcasts at the moment, Asmi?
Yeah, I love to listen to the Economist podcast. There are several
Oh.
podcasts that I like. Majority is business podcasts. It's like Financial Times, The Economist, and also sometimes like BBC. I think that's really
Mhm.
good. It's like daily podcasts that provide insightful updates, particularly in global
Mm.
business and economics and news. During the time right now is really important. I think like we keep saying changing in regulation, changes in the policy
Yeah.
and geopolitical uncertainty right now. So it's quite insightful for me, to be honest.
Yeah, we need to keep up with the times because of these times of
Yeah,
uncertainty. Policies are changing left
yeah,
and right.
yeah.
And do you have a role model in your life?
In terms of like academics perspective, like if you ever heard Jeffrey Sachs.
Not necessarily. Can you tell me more about him?
But Jeffrey Sachs is actually an economist from Columbia University, and
Mm.
he quite outspoken about most of the things like Trump's policy, administration, foreign policy, and also he introducing like how to tackle inequality, global poverty, etc., etc. So
Oh.
I like his works. I think it's not only economists like looking at numbers, but also trying to looking at from qualitative perspective, deep digging inside how people feels, how to basically engage all actors like governments, policymakers, society to solve the issue. Also, right now he quite give a lot of opinion about international relations, particularly about U.S. foreign policy. I think yeah, I admire the works of Jeffrey Sachs, and also if you ever heard John Mearsheimer from Chicago University, is also very renowned person in international relations, particularly understanding on offensive and defensive realism perspective in ER. I think that's quite a combination. Is both of them
Oh.
is quite good because in the sense that Jeffrey Sachs give you understanding about economics, but now Mearsheimer also give you understanding about international relations, which is we really need at the age of uncertainty right now, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So a combination of international relations and the economy. And last question for this segment is there a course that has inspired you?
Yeah, there is one I think I watched like 15 years ago. It's called Justice
Interesting.
by Michael Sandel from Harvard University. The most interesting part of the course is basically teaching like everybody has a different kind of perspective in understanding the concept of morality. You can connect it with all angles in human life, like your behavior, understanding why people follow the regulation, why they make decision, and business ethics, and etc. etc. So I think it could be applied in your daily life. So I think that's the reasons why the course is very high impact on my life. I think I could never forget the way Sanders explained about the concept of like morality and justice effect on human life.
Wow, that's very impactful because usually it's related. Usually people are inspired by related courses to their topic, and yours is, I think it's also related, but it's more core, like human core, and about justice and about the state of the society. And now we can dive deep into our topic. And for starters, how would you define affluence?
All right. Affluence, I think, in a simple way, refers to a stage of having abundance of wealth, resources, and material goods, meaning you have enough. But having enough doesn't necessarily means the same for everybody. Like you could have a lot, but you don't feel enough. So we can talk about it's not only about income, but also we're talking about assets, investment, access to opportunities, and also financial security. And those overall combined, it give you freedom to make choices. So if you think that you are able to make choices in your daily life, either in investment, in business, and it give you financial security, it means that you have affluence, you have abundance. But abundance, again, it very depends with the people measurement of abundance. Again, I want to emphasize that it is not like concrete measurement. We cannot measure it by quantitative perspective. It's very qualitative. Like you could feel that it's enough, but for other people, it's not enough. So it depends. You have to decide it for everybody. Decide it like what the level of abundance they thinks is suitable for them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's very intriguing indeed because not a lot of people's definition of enough is the same. I like that. And secondarily, how would you define innovative entrepreneur?
In the simple terms, I think innovative entrepreneurs is someone or businessman who able to solve a problem. Like day by day, we're facing with problems. So in the business perspective, you're able to find a solution of the problem, meaning you are already innovative, right? So if we say that it could reflect by entrepreneur or someone who introduced like new ideas. Now, so there's existing problems, and then you have a new idea, and then new products, of course. New products come up because there's the new problems. You have to come up with the new solution of the product. For example, you find a toilet, regular toilet. Sorry, talking about toilet. Find regular toilet for everybody, but then there's a problem, for instance, people with disability, and then you want to try to solve that problem, and then you come with a new idea, new products. So that has become innovative. So you have to find new methods, and then often transforming like industry by creating value. So the idea has to be transformed into the product, and the product has a value. So even though like you solve the problem, but the problem doesn't have social impact to the others people, that doesn't mean that there's no value on that product. So this is not called innovative. So I would sum up by innovative entrepreneur is entrepreneurs that basically come up with the solution of the problems, the idea able to give a value to people. Therefore, I will sum up it by an innovative entrepreneurs.
That's a wonderful explanation on what an innovative entrepreneur is. And now, lastly, how would you describe the relationship between innovative entrepreneurs and affluence?
I think innovative entrepreneurs often play a pivotal role in creating affluence, not only just from themselves, but also for a large society, society at large. Why? Because to do business, you need a capital. There is no way. I mean, to start a business without the capital, at least you need to four things like human resources, capital resources, natural resources, and skills. So by having abundance of that, having affluence of that, you're able to make a creative idea to solve the big problems. It needs a big capital, etc., etc. So I think by launching like groundbreaking products or services, they can generate like significant economic value, and also that significant economic value could give a profit for the company, and the company can expand the job, also stimulating growth. In the cycle, we call it economic cycle economy, meaning if the business expands, the government also get a lot of income from that, and the society, it gives a wider impact to the society. So I think they have a very tight connection between innovative entrepreneurs and affluence in this sense.
I see, especially in this, as you mentioned before, volatile times, uncertain policies, being innovative is actually quite important to move with agility in terms of business. And in what ways can creative entrepreneurship enable individuals to become affluent? For example, like building their wealth and reach power.
I think creative entrepreneurship empowers individuals to build wealth and also expand their influence and increase their power. Power here doesn't have to be, I think it's like very simple terms. You can understand the power by capability to make someone to do what we want, right? That could be by force, that could be also by very soft diplomatic approaches. It's just like when you're selling a product and then you touch them, and then psychologically people become really tuning into the way you express things. So I think what creative entrepreneurship enable individuals to become affluent. First of all, you need to identify unique opportunities. Like creative entrepreneurs have to find like which spots that basically in the market give you opportunity where you can enter into this segment of markets. It's just like if you go to Indonesia and Jakarta, you find a lot of like meatball sellers, right? And then the market is highly saturated. If entrepreneurs want to enter the segments, it's already like in the theory we call it Red Sea Ocean. So it's very hard to enter the market. But again, if you find uniqueness of that, like you created the meatballs with a lot of hot cheese inside, you create a different menu, of course you can enter the market, and there's the possibility that for you to get a profit from that. And then also you need like leveraging like digital platform, like now you can sell it a lot of food, a product, etc., using like a digital marketplace. I think if I may mention, such as like Indonesia, we have like Shopee, we have like Tokopedia, and etc. So it's no longer like what we see right now. It's like majority of small medium enterprises like stuck with their traditional market. Like they set up a shop and then they wait to the customers. So it's no longer applicable right now. You have to basically approach the markets. Therefore, you can find your target market nicely. And then I think the last one is you have to build strong personal brand. It depends where your companies want to go. Like if you only play in if we see the segment of the market, if you want to go to the top, like premium products, therefore you have to have a strong brand. Like all strong brands needs a little bit education to understanding what is strong brand. You need to have like brand personality when people see the brand. The product itself, it needs to have the feeling into the product. So if you understand all the stuff, right, it's going to give you opportunity to be affluent, because that's going to give you wider market target and you can sell the product even though in the small packaging, small prices, but it feels premium. And the end of the day, if you keep doing that, it's gonna give the product itself in the place where a premium product. Like people no longer care about the price of the product, but it cares about the personality of the product. I think, yeah.
That was a very comprehensive answer for the question. And my follow-up question to that is, in recent years, as the fourth industrial revolution takes shape, there has been a shift in determining a country's wealth from only focusing on a country's GDP towards a more comprehensive approach that embraces inclusivity, including the impeding progress towards achieving sustainable development goals that has been laid out by the UN. How have creative entrepreneurs innovate in the landscape of attaining the 17 SDGs?
Yeah, thank you. I think there are several things they could do. First of all, we need to understand that the idea of measuring economic competency and growth based on neoclassical perspective. We call it neoclassical perspective because basically they're measuring by government spending, consumption, investment,
Yeah,
export and
GDP.
import. Right. So right now it has to be added by sustainability. It's no longer like catching the growth itself, but it has to sustain. What the entrepreneur should do is basically following all the requirements that need to create a sustainable products. How to create a sustainable products? It's just like finding a resource, meaning like a raw source for the product itself based on sustainability. In in blue economy, for instance, like if you want to catch a fish, right, you have to
Yeah.
measure how big is the fish is. So therefore,
Ah.
yeah, if you're doing business in blue economy, there's a lot of steps you could do. For instance, the fishermen who go to the oceans, you need to check your fuel of your boats to see if the fuel is actually good for environment. Where do you dump the fuel? The oil is in the ocean. If you have to go to like the seashore, etc., etc. And then when you catch the fish, you have to measure the fish. Is the fish is big enough? For is it big enough for you to catch, or if it is small, you have to put it back into the oceans. And if you bring back to the seashores in the harbor, it has to check is the kind of fish that you can catch, because there's a certain fish you cannot catch because it's good for environment. So all those things you have to follow. So you need to understand how and when you can developing sustainable products, and also it has to be care also about healthcare. So in the SDGs, there is also sustainable ocean, etc., etc., and also giving, for instance, I give you example that when you catch the fish, you have to understand the way you catch the fish. If you're using bomb and you bring back to the harbor, meaning the fish is already contaminated by chemicals, right? So
Ah.
yeah, you can no longer selling it because it's no longer health. It's not only for you, but also bad for environment, but also giving the burden for healthcare because it's giving additional cost for health there. So I think you need to see it in very inclusive and coherent way. No longer separated in one pieces, but all activity and business have to look at from SDG aspects in holistic perspective. Yeah.
I see. So holistically, there's a lot of aspects that we actually need to think about because, for example, as you mentioned, when it's about fisheries and doing it in the wrong way can actually affect the health of the country, the health sector of the country. And can you give us a good example of what a creative entrepreneur is in terms of these businesses that you have seen so far in your field?
Yeah, I think what you can see is not like it's already exists. It's traditionally exists. If you go to Papua, in near
Hmm.
Santani, right? There's the creative entrepreneurs there, combining by SDGs aspect. Like when they want to catch the
Oh.
fish, it's called hutan perempuan. It's like basically forest for women. When you want to
Woman, yeah.
catch fish there, any kind of fish, you have to go there naked,
Ah.
and only women can go there. So men can is not allowed to enter that places or forests to catch a
Space.
fish. Why? We need to understand the philosophical background why men cannot enter that places, because the woman is technically entrepreneurs there. If men getting inside into the place, meaning they will take a job for women, so it give like sense of equality for women, right? And second, if many people enter to the place and they can enter that with clothes, if you are naked to go there, meaning only several people can go there. So it's
Mm.
basically keeps sustainability for the fisher sectors itself. So it's quite good. And when the product is bring back to the harbor, then the processing it by the packaging, they drying the fish, the packaging in not using a plastic, etc., but using it like leaves, and they're selling it into the market. So basically, in traditional way, is really good. That's a very small example, but you can also looking at like in a what is it? In the bigger examples, like in the city, etc., etc. It's just like we can see it a lot in TikTok market. I don't know if I can mention the brand. Like if you go to in a TikTok
Yeah,
shop,
that's okay.
right? Like you can see
Hmm.
that most of the time people like live online and selling their products, and then they give you emotion when they're selling it, like the touch, that's the later is really soft, etc. Like it gives you a feeling of that. So basically the creativity there is no longer the same that what you had in the past. Like it gives you medium, like technological medium to touching the target market like easier compared to than before.
Yeah, I enjoy that perspective, especially how creativity is not only for something that's modern, but also we can actually learn from indigenous people on how they have their take on sustainability and how we can transform that and make that a part of our practices as entrepreneurs so that we can be more sustainable as looking into the TikTok shops and how the different mediums are creative in their own segments. And I'd like, because you talked about social media, I'd love to talk about MrBeast, also known as Jimmy Donaldson. He's leveraged massive YouTube presence to build a multifaceted empire that spans through food, tech, and entertainment in 2020. For example, he launched Mr. Beast Burger back then, a virtual restaurant chain operating through Ghost Kitchen, growing into a global phenomenon. And most notably is Feastables, which is his chocolate bar brand in 2022 and is now available globally in different markets all around the world. And how can creative entrepreneurs leverage innovation and attain significant wealth? Uh, like this case study of Mr. Beast that just came out of nowhere, just from YouTube.
I think, yeah, we can learn a lot of things from that cases. Like, as someone who understanding the where the market goes to, like the behavior of market is changing, it's constantly changing. Why is it constantly
Mm,
changing? Because it's in every day we basically absorbing new contents, right? So our
mhm,
behavior, our preferences keep changing most of the time. People who
mm.
able to catch up the preference of market preference, market behavior, and basically setting the target, their business target based on market preferences, are able to get into the heart of the market. So that person who able from expand from small business to large entrepreneurs like big company, etc., is basically a person who are able to take a risk, think a lot of opportunity, be positivist. Be very optimist and positive about that. Not only looking at the risk. Sometimes when we are overlooking at the risk, we don't want to take decision. Also, I think the most important part is just doing it. Sometimes when you think a lot, it's nothing happen. So a person like that,
That's right.
understanding, yeah, the nature of the market, psychology of the market, are able to catch up the wider segment of market. We can learn from all the big companies who already fail, like such as like Nokia, BlackBerry. I think it's one of the biggest factor why they fail in the industry, because they don't know, or they are not aware enough that the market is already changing their behavior from using like real keyboards, real touch to
Yeah.
yeah to touch
To a
screens.
touchscreen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it needs that kind of sensitivity to understanding what is it happens in the market right now, what they need, etc., etc.
I see. So in essence, it's market understanding, and taking that into account and having to take action and having the agility to adapt with the times. And as we mentioned a little bit about the challenges in attaining creative entrepreneurship, as you mentioned about Nokia, like choosing the path of entrepreneurship comes with these challenges. What are some common obstacles creative entrepreneurs face when they're trying to innovate?
I think most commonly is financial constraint, right?
Mm,
Most of people has like idea, but they don't know how to access capital. So in this case, you need to have at least basic understanding of how to access capital. Like if you want to borrow money at the bank, you need to understand the interest rate. You need to understand the procedure, administrative procedure. Is it like the money that you get, the loan that you get, is able to be paid within the 5 years, like 10 years, etc., etc., and then comparing into the how much profit you're gonna make. I think that's a basic understanding. It needs to be it needs to be held by creative entrepreneurs. So in the sense, like limited access to funding can hinder their development and their scaling innovative idea. Even though you have like such a like big idea, but you don't have the capital, of course, you cannot implement it. And then the second one is, I think, market uncertainty right now is
mm,
it's very complicated because like every time it's a politically when America has a policy impacting two things in the globally. First one is the tariff,
mhm.
right? So
The
when
tariffs.
they increase the tariff, all market players going to be impacted. The second one is going to make the price of product high, particularly in the US. When the price of the product is high, there is tendency to be higher inflation. Higher inflation is going to make uh, the central bank to increase the interest rate. So when the interest rate is high, consequently, I mean, like in all country impacted with that, it's going to also increase the interest rate, meaning the entrepreneurs, when they want to get the loan from the bank, they have to get a higher interest rate, which is really bad for business. So it needs to be very aware of that and also be creative. Also like to understanding resource limitation. Like if you want to build a business right now, you need to understand, is it possible to get the human resource suitable with this kind of business, and also the resource like raw resources that's suitable gonna fulfill the business demands. And I think the last one is regulatory perspective, because the world is changing. Of course, the government's also changing. The policy also changing. You need to understand, like, that's it. Will be that certain regulatory gonna impact my business? If so, then you have to decide what kind of strategy you have to make to basically reduce the risk or take it the opportunity from this regulatory hurdles, I think.
I see. So understanding the market, understanding the changes, the volatile changes in the economy, and adapting to it is what is especially quite challenging in these times nowadays. What are the ways creative entrepreneurs overcome these challenges that you have mentioned?
Oh yeah, I think what they need to do when they hard to get access to the access to finance or capital, what they need to understand is don't be too greedy to expand your market. So you need to basically rationally think like it's better to be able to stay in the current situation, like in the stable, rather
Mhm.
than taking a risk, too much risk, but without calculated risk. You can take a risk, but it has to be calculated. So you can do it
Mm.
by doing lean operations, by make it like a lean startup, allowing testing a new idea, but very minimal resources, and also calculate the risk. And also, what you need to do, you have to have like collaborative networks.
Mm.
I help a couple, like you call it here, and rich people in Indonesia. I make friends with some of them. What I see is basically they meet quite often, like very often. So they always like collaborate together, seeking the opportunity. They talk about the problems. Your business problems could be also similar with my business problem, but my problems in business maybe could be helped by you. I mean, from another company. So they always like meeting frequently. They have collaborative networks. What I see also from my visit from China last month is they have very strong collaboration between business owners. They always talking like, I produce this thing. What do you produce? How can we collaborate together? And they also show like I can reach this stage because I did this, I did this. So they giving like continuous learning in the process of to tackling all these kind of challenges. So I think that's three aspect is really good to be learned, like understanding your lean operation, collaborative networks, and of course, it has to be doing like continuous learning as an entrepreneurs.
I see. So basically, being able to be financially woke enough to have these lean operations and not to have a lot of overhead costs, networking smartly, and lastly, can you repeat the last one? Sorry.
Continuous growth. So
The last one
basically,
was
you need to learn.
about the continuous growth. Yeah. Yeah. The learning capabilities of people. And I think those are really great answers to these situation. And what do you think the future is going to look like, especially in these volatile economic conditions? What are the rising challenges that will arise, that may arise in the future?
I think the biggest challenges in the future is machine will be smarter than us. That will be, I think,
Mm,
technological disruptions gonna change our civilizations. Like, we have right now ChatGPT, we have Perplexity, we have all the kind of AI. In the
yeah.
sense, it's good for business. In other sense, it's bad for business. The good business, like if you use AI to basically get generated ideas, how to approach the market, etc., etc. Educating yourself is good, but in a sense that you have to, you have no longer time to just wait without doing it, because at the time when you wait, there's another business who are faster than you because they more adaptive to the technology. So I think
Mm,
technological disruption will be the highest rank, AI, blockchain, and then we have like quantum computing right now. So the
yeah.
quantum computing combined with the blockchain, it gives you like changing the revolution of informations. That's going to be a breakthrough. I think it's going to happen within maybe 15 or 10 years. And then what technology cannot basically control in human is our desire, greediness, etc.,
Mm,
etc. So I think the biggest challenges is geopolitical instability. I mean, in the history of humankind, wars always happens. We
mhm.
never see the whole world is space. So I think the nature of human, there is a sense they want to do war, but also the sense they want to do peace, right? So I think now
Mm,
geopolitical instability, tension between Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, the US, China, Europe, now it's like very fragmented. I think we need to set the bar. Like if the previously with this like kind of certainty bar that we have to be like this one, because it keeps changing all the time. We need to able to understand that technological disruption and geopolitical stability is main challenges that need to be understood and faced by most of entrepreneurs right now. Yeah.
And that actually follows through to my next question, because you mentioned about the rise of these new technologies, like the future of creative entrepreneurship, right? New technologies such as AI, Internet of Things, blockchain, as you mentioned, quantum computers. They have a significant impact on the world of entrepreneurship, because these enable entrepreneurs to create innovative products and services that disrupt traditional industries, but also improves efficiency and create new economic opportunities despite its challenges and questions about it. How has technology changed the landscape for creative entrepreneurs in terms of innovation and wealth creations? Well, we did talk a little bit about its disadvantages. Now, I'd like to tap into how it can actually change the landscape.
I think like emerging technology are enabling entrepreneurs to innovate and build wealth in a very significant way. Let me tell you a story. Like last month, I went to China, and I saw two things happens to me, which is for me is really fascinating. Like I saw the drones basically deliver the package, no longer human. So I think in the future, perhaps the delivery that human state will be replaced by robot, etc., etc. The second ones, when I was in a hotel, all the menu and stuff and food is delivered by robot. So I think it shows that in a sense, it's basically giving efficiency to the business owner, the hotel owner. And also in negative side, like it's gonna give challenges for another people to find a proper jobs because you have to competing with the technology. I would not say it's competing, but I would put it like using technology, get advantage of technology. If you can use technology properly, then of course going to be able to scale up your business. So I think like such as like artificial intelligence, you can use ChatGPT, you can use all kind of AI in business, generating idea, etc., etc. You can also using in the fast production. For instance, like when I was in conference last month, they show me how to build a second level of building only by 24 hours by using technology. So all the machine that's basically doing that. And also we saw that
Whoa.
often in mall, like you no longer seeing the barista, but the machine basically operating all the grounding the coffee, serving the coffee for you. I think that's going to be the future for us. So we cannot against that, but we have to embrace this is going to be happen. If you're talking about
Yeah.
yeah, if you're talking about blockchain, um, this coin it's already happens, right? Like Bitcoin, etc., etc. It gives you transparency and security, and also give you like time efficiency. If you want to sell in capital by using blockchains and cryptocurrency is very fast compared to using the bank. Bank, you have to go to the bank because it's like international transfers. There's a certain sum of money that basically needs to be validated by bank. But now, if you want to moving a capital using like a blockchain technology, you do it at the second. Right now, it's arrived at the second. So it's very fast.
Mm.
So it's gonna change how the capital move from one country to another country. Just I think in a sense, it's very good.
Yeah, it's the decentralization of banks, right? Especially with cryptocurrencies, and its encryption is very much it's very intricate. It's encryption. And looking ahead, what emerging trends do you see in the realm of innovation and entrepreneurship?
I would say the emerging trends will be generative AI. I mean, if you open the YouTube right now, most of the speakers, like you go to international forum, all talking about innovative quantum technology, quantum computing, quantum blockchain, etc., etc. So it will be two things. I think is a generative AI. AI combined with the quantum technology is going to be like could be surpassed of human knowledge. Like for instance, like your knowledge, my knowledge is combined to one computer. There will be like a super knowledge, right? So imagine in the future, it's like we have a kind of machine that able to solve everything, not only looking from solving the idea, but in all kind of aspect in health, business, in physics sectors, because physics cannot be separated from technology, right? So that's going to give like a lot of breakthrough in the future. And the entrepreneurship, innovative entrepreneurship has to look this as opportunity. They can no longer see that this is the threat, but looking at like how can I not outsmart them, not outsmart the technology, but how can I use this technology to help my business able uh, to get a new market, create a new product, and give me a new idea which is can be faster. Yeah, I think it's no longer the source of knowledge. It's more is now about who's doing it first. Are you going to doing it or just like think without never doing it? Execution, I think, is the key right now. So even though there is
Mm,
like, yeah, the trends in innovation, entrepreneurship involving like AI, decentralized finance like DeFi, hybrid work model, etc., it's no use if you don't do the work, right? You just
that's
need to
right.
doing it.
Taking action.
Yeah, taking action, I think, is the essential key.
I see. So we've talked a lot about the challenges, the future of creative entrepreneurship, and how people have built wealth through creative entrepreneurship. Let's talk about the practices that people can actually do. We did talk about taking action, but what practice would you recommend to do to be a creative entrepreneur?
I think I would say three things.
Mm,
First, you need to have ownership. What does it mean? Ownership is like all decision that you make is goes back to you.
mm,
In any kind of small decisions, like you have a business, you have to wake up early. That's kind of ownership for yourself. You need to have kind of like responsibility. So ownership and responsibility is really tied together. Ownership that you don't only build the business, but you also has responsible for people who works for you. That needs to be set up clear. The
mm.
second one, you need to have kind of like freedom, like let yourself free. What does it mean, let yourself free? Is basically take a time and explore and see and understand that there is any possibility, there's a possibility could happen in the future. You need to able to see that possibility and catch that opportunity from that possibility. So don't let yourself set back, being in fears, which is going to reduce your creativity, because the most creative people is actually the people who are not affair by fears what happened in the future but want to explore. The last ones, I think, flexibility. Like the environment's changed, right? You are
Yeah.
changed, the people's changed. So during that time is moving on, all variable in your business change. Your employees change. Maybe they were young and now they are adults, they are old. So their need is different. You are also getting evolved from maybe you were still 20s, then getting 30s and 40s. Your souls, your behavior psychologically also change. The market is also changed. So you need to be
Yeah.
flexible, connecting all the dots yourself, looking at yourself psychologically. You need to see your employee sociologically, and then you see the market in business perspective. If they change, you need to able to grasp that. So be flexible in sensing changes without basically afraid to switch directions. Because if the strategy is no longer working, don't stay there. Don't basically make your own bias, uh, and that bias make you doesn't want to make decision, which is eventually gonna make your business bankrupt. Because some business make a faster decision, the right decision at the same time. So it's basically raising the time. I think those three combined will be a very key aspects for entrepreneurs to be creative in a sense way.
Yeah. And what are the challenges in attaining these three aspects to become a more of a creative entrepreneur, a successful creative entrepreneur?
I think the challenge is goes back to yourself, right? The environment can change, but if you don't want to resist the change, right? If you don't want to change your perspective, it's going to be hard. I think the most creative entrepreneurs, we see the biggest entrepreneurs in the world, like we see like Steve Jobs, etc., etc. Both of them is basically adapting what the environment changed, and then he also changed. Changed in a way that you see where the business direction is gonna go. So I think the biggest obstacles for entrepreneurs right now is looking inside yourself. It's no longer only from outside. The environment keeps constantly change. If you want to be adaptable, there's going to be your issue. Also, we now able to get information and technology really fast. Like there is no more excuses that we can no longer doing it, right? We all the access to knowledge, etc., etc. So the
Indeed.
question is no longer about, oh, I'm not educated enough, I don't know enough, I don't have information enough. That's no longer excuses that basically acceptable. No, it goes back to you, how big your ownership to yourself, that willing to make your business grow and take that responsibility. I mentioned before that you no longer what it's not about yourself, but it's about your company, your employee, etc., etc. I remember one of when I was doing my master degree. I remember my teacher told me that if you want to be success in business, don't ever think about the profit. Like if you're only thinking about the profit, your business gonna be you're not gonna be long term business. But think about how you can contribute to people around you. So
Contribution.
yeah, they
Yeah.
give you like motivation. They give you like social impact, and that's gonna make you success in the future. So things that's combined by self responsibility, ownership, and the vision that basically we could contribute to society, that's going to able to uh, solve all the problems. I think what we're gonna have in the future for entrepreneurs for sure.
Wow. And one last thing, what practice would you recommend to for people to attain these three aspects, which is having a sense of ownership and gaining flexibility and taking action and having these freedom of thoughts?
I think of three practices. I would say first one is have self discipline. Self discipline could be adapted into our daily life. Like wake up early. You have to set up your target, like what time you want to wake up in the morning. Like if you want to wake up at 5, set up and wake up at 5. Why you have to do it consistently? Because it basically teach your brain to be adaptive and consistent with your action. So you train your brain to be yourself, to be more disciplined. Second, why you have to basically set up the time for you to wake up, set up your target, is basically you teach yourself that, oh, I have to take action of my decision. So it's basically unconscious way to basically teach yourself. I read the book that saying that in that, I forgot the title of the book, but it says that when you wake up, um, how to say that in English? Prepare your bed. You know, right? The
Make your
reason,
bed. Yeah.
yeah, make your bed. So it's good for you because it teaches you some discipline. It basically teaches your brain that, oh, I start my action right now. So you start your action. The second one is when you in your daily life, be very open to all perspective. Like why you need to be open to new perspective, because when you limit your knowledge, when you close your mind, there may be some information that is important for you, but you fail to grasp that information. So you have to be very open. The third one is, I mean, like that one is very open, meaning that you have to have a lot of friends. You cannot have a business without making friends. Yeah, a lot of friends means profit, because you can get information, you can get access through your network. And the last things, I think, be grateful. I think that would be the last thing. What is it, be grateful meaning? Like you have to able to show gratitude for everybody, for all, not only like for yourself. You gratitude for yourself, and then you gratitude for environments, all the resources that you use, and all the people that basically benefits, even though not benefits yet for you. So set up your ownership, and then be very open to all the information, have a very wide friends network, etc., etc., and therefore that you be grateful for all those things. Like I'm grateful to have you in my life. I'm grateful to have a business partner like you, etc., etc. that's going to give like emotional bonding. It's no longer like people, I use you only when I need you, etc., etc. That's for future growth for business is very good.
That was a wonderful and thorough explanation for the practices and habits. And what you mentioned just now was actually very much actionable steps that we can take on our day-to-day habits that we can build up into becoming a more creative interpreter. Now we are moving on to our open mic segment where you have the chance to talk about anything that you're passionate about. Doesn't have to be related to the topic. So the stage is yours.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm grateful to be part of this discussion. I want to highlight, I think, to conclude our conversation and podcast for the sections. Like, I think what we need to understand right now, not only for me but for everybody, like the landscape of the environment is changing. We are changed. The geopoliticals also changed. We have to be more adaptive into that changes. We see technology evolve really fast. We see the political chaotics also changing. Picking the good leadership, picking a, a good president, leader is going to affect us a lot. So I think it's no longer like we are self-educated, but also we have to contribute to the society. We have to teach our people that sharing the information, that contributing to the public life, contributing to politics is very important. We no longer we can no longer stay in the position that we don't care about what happens in the politics. Politics basically shape our daily lives. So I think political consciousness is very good to be spread across all the society. Therefore, we all can make a very wise decision, not only for ourselves, but for our people and for our future together as a society. Thank you.
Wonderful to be more empathetic to our political climate, especially in nowadays times, to physically take care of ourselves and the world. And thank you very much for joining us today and today's very thorough discussion. And if our listeners want to find out more about you, Asmi, and what you do, where can they go?
Yeah, you can just Google me. I think I will be on LinkedIn. Also, any social media, I'm active also in Twitter, so you can contact me. You just need to search my name, Asmiati Malik. I'll be happy to get in contact with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. See you later.
See you.
You've been listening to Wealth Pathways, the Affluence Science Insights Podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. More episodes are available from 10 life management perspectives and can be found by searching LMSL on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and other podcasting apps available on your devices. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, share, and subscribe to our channel so that other people can find it and we can continue to provide quality content. More of our work can be found on our website at affluence.lifemanagementsciencelabs.com, where you can join our movement. I'm Marie Stella. Thanks for tuning in.